If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as follow me and subscribe to me on all my other social media platforms. What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with another episode of Under the Radar. I missed out on last week because, well, a couple of reasons. There were only 2 other albums, but the biggest reason was because I wasn't feeling the best last week, so I just skipped last week, so apologies for that, but I am back this week with quick reviews for 3 more albums, and the first album I'm talking about for the weekend of March 3rd is the latest studio offering from Necropanther with Betrayal. So yeah, pretty much most of the albums that I talk about under the radar are from bands I have never heard of prior. Like Necropanther, haven't heard of them prior, and I went through the album's releases and I saw this one and looked at the band and they were listed as melodic death / thrash metal. And while that's somewhat accurate, I would like to add in some black metal in there too. Like, this is almost like a proper continuation of where Skeleton Witch left off prior to when they went on a nosedive with their last album that came out 5 years ago. So if you're a fan of Skeleton Witch, or even other death / blackened thrash bands like Absu, even, bands along those lines, this is definitely one to check out, because this album, it's pretty much thrash metal, but you do get like vocals that go between black metal screams and death metal growls. So it's like right there combining both vocal styles. Musically, it's very thrashy, but you do get moments of black metal, as well as some like death metal chugs and death metal tremolos, especially on the title track. Well, actually, no, not the title track. The track before the title track is where you get like mostly like death metal chugs going on. But yeah, like I said, if you're a fan of Skeleton Witch, you will dig this, because there's also some great some great melodies and harmonies with the guitars. It's a wonderful thrash album that combines all things extreme, and actually, I was pretty impressed with this album. I'm giving this one an 8.5 out of 10. I think this is a great fucking album. Like I said, for fans of Skeleton Witch, or even fans of bands like Absu, definitely check this one out. And now for the second album for Under the Radar this week, and it's from another band I have never heard of, and this album is from a band called Carcariass with Afterworld. So yeah, this is another band, like I said, I've never heard of, but when I was looking through the upcoming albums for 2023, and I saw the description of this band and album, they're a French band, they're described as progressive melodic death metal. And I do like that style, particularly from bands like In Mourning, Insomnium, bands along those lines. This definitely does not sound like In Mourning or Insomnium. This is definitely more, even though they're a French band, it sounds more closer to American melodic death metal, as well as traditional prog metal kind of mashed together. This is almost like what would happen if latter era death had more like prog rock inspired riffs and like catchy grooves and such. This is basically what this album's all about. There's a ton, and I mean a ton, of great melodic play going on here. Like these leads, there's a lot of like classic metal lead work on here, and a lot of like classic metal riffs and rhythms that kind of show up here and there. Vocally, it's more like a middle ground between thrash bark and death growl, kind of maybe almost like Gojira, fellow French band, but with a little more like gruffness to it, so to speak. But like I said, musically, there's a lot of classic metal influence going on here. There's great mellow death on here, and great prog on here too. So overall, There were a couple of songs that I thought they could have maybe trimmed the fat on a little bit. And for that, I give this album an 8 out of 10. This is some really good stuff, and I should definitely check out some of their earlier material and see what it's all about in comparison to this one. But yeah, 8 out of 10 for Afterworld by Carcariass. And now for the third and final album for this week's Under the Radar, and it is a debut from a Minnesota melodic death metal band, and that band is Majesties with Vast Reached Unclaimed. So yeah, I got interested in checking this out because actually the day that I'm recording this video, I saw a preview that the Thralls of Metal guys were going to do a review for this tomorrow, and I thought, well, if these guys are checking it out, I better check it out for myself as well, and holy shit, this right here, this album, the best way to describe it is what would happen if Tampa from At the Gates sang for In Flames back in the mid-90s. Because, holy shit, this has a lot of old school In Flames worship to it, as well as At the Gates worship as well, but man, this makes In Flames look like child's play, if I'm gonna be honest. Like, this is an awesome fucking album. Great melodies, great aggressive riffage going on here. It gets thrashy at times. Like I said, the vocals are just very unhinged on here. And the production, I think for a debut, this was well done production. Everything was pretty much even kiltered for the most part. The guitars, the bass, the drums, and the vocals. Mwah! Brilliantly well done. So basically this album, I would best say for fans of old school In Flames, as well as At the Gates, or like really the old school Gothenburg melodic death metal sound. It's done pretty well here in the States now, thanks to a Minnesota band right here, and this is their debut on $20 spin, might I add. So, way to go for your first effort already on a label like that, and delivering a home run. This is a 9 out of 10. I absolutely enjoyed this album. A lot of the songs, they kind of go by quick, but it left me wanting more just because of how cool this album was from top to bottom. So yeah, 9 out of 10. And that does it for this week's Under the Radar. We had a pretty good selection of stuff this week, but what was your favorite out of the 3 albums? And as always, links for these albums are in the description box if you guys want to check them out yourselves. But until next time, keep your horns high and your dreams wet.